Okay, before we really dig into this recipe, I want to make sure you people at home have everything that you need. So, number one, I am using raw milk, raw milk, raw milk. Hello. 2 gallons. Now, if you can't get raw milk, don't panic. Never panic, because Starry Hilder has a backup plan. You can use cow's milk. But if you use cow's milk, you are also going to have some calcium chloride on hand. This is what's going to firm up your feta. So, store-bought cow's milk, you got to have the calcium. Otherwise, raw milk, don't have to worry about it. You also need some rennet. Now, there's vegetable rennet, there's animal rennet, there's rennet that comes in tablet form. I've got all of it, but today I'm going to be using my liquid rennet for this recipe. You're also going to need Mesophilic Culture. I get this at Cultures for Health. Really cheap, probably the cheapest source I've found online so far. And look, oh, they come in really nice prepackaged things. I don't know. They're prepackaged. And then, oh, please, people, invest in a really good thermometer. This is my cheese thermometer. And you're also going to have a clean wooden spoon, and everything needs to be sterile. And you're going to need a stainless steel, this is important, stainless steel pot, and or some type of a non-reactive pot. And please make sure you clean it with bleach and rinse it really good. Everything has to be super, super clean. Okay, so now let's get started. Oh, this is the exciting part. Now, feta cheese is all about the temperature. So, 86 degrees is going to be our target with our milk. And this recipe, I am using 2 gallons of raw milk. And that's why, people, I told you, have a really good cheese thermometer. You know, back in the day, I was really resistant to buying a lot of this stuff. And I think I was resistant because it cost money. So in fact, I think I must have went through 3 cheapo thermometers before I finally said, okay, enough is enough, Starry. Just buy yourself a good thermometer. And I'm so lucky I did. So I want to show you this. So look how lovely that raw milk is. I love raw milk. And then we're going to keep checking it and mixing it, and we want a target temperature of only 86 degrees. So we're really not heating it up that hot. So you're going to have to stand here and be very diligent about watching that thermometer. Now, as your milk is heating up, if you are doing the cow's milk, just as it is warming up, you are going to take 1/8 teaspoon of this calcium chloride, people, and you're going to put it in 1/4 cup of water, and you're going to mix it, and then you're going to add it as it is heating up right to your milk. And that's only, just remember this is a disclaimer, only if you are doing cow's milk. 86, then you're going to add your Mesophilic Culture. Now, if you don't have a Mesophilic Culture, you can use, I believe, a tablespoon, I'll double check, of active live culture. Okay, but I'm going to open this up, and well, they certainly don't make that easy, do they? Okay, all right. Okay, I may have to stop it for just a second because, boy, I like the little packages, but I'm going to have to get, hang on. Okay, now it's time. Now we got to open up our little package of our Mesophilic, and we'll add that. And there's not much. It's like a very little sprinkle of culture. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that. And then all you're going to do is stir that up. Okay, now we just have to sit and wait. That's it. 60 minutes, people. And leave it undisturbed. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. Don't go off and do something. And then come back after 60 minutes. I leave mine right on top of my burner. You can leave yours right on top of your stovetop. And then come back. And then we'll continue. And get your rennet ready. Get your rennet ready. Oh, that's a mouthful. Get your rennet ready. You're going to take 1/2 teaspoon of rennet, add it to 1/4 cup of water, and then we're going to add it to our milk. When you add it, you're just going to stir it in an up and down motion. And every recipe, people, that I have ever read says an up and down motion. And you don't have to do this for very long. It's just to add that rennet, and then you're going to put that cover back on and let it set. Okay, now here's a really cool Starry Hilder no frills tip. This is what I like about this recipe and all my recipes, because this can set up actually overnight at this point. So say you have to make the kids' supper and the husband's supper tonight, or maybe you're the guy and you got to make the wife's supper. Hey, that's cool, because once you put the rennet in, you can let it sit overnight. What's going to happen is the rennet will gel it up within about an hour. So I'm going to let this sit for an hour, and then I'm going to proceed with the recipe. But if you don't have time, you just got interrupted, whoa, it's okay. Let it sit overnight and then continue with the recipe. Isn't that cool? Now I am inside. So if you waited a day, that's okay. But I waited an hour. And then the next step is you're going to take a clean knife. And this is the fun part. Look at that, people. It is gelled up. I told you so. The rennet does a beautiful job. So what we're doing here is we're just cutting the milk, so to speak, into cubes, okay? You don't have to be fancy about it. I just make my cuts just like that. Look at that. This is the cool thing about feta, or any cheese. It really is simple to do. I'm so excited. This is the cool part. Now look at that. I've got little tiny, look at that, little cubes. And that's what you're going to have, people. You're going to have little cubes because the whey is going to separate. Now, this is going to be the laborious part. There's always a laborious part, so just park your butt close to this pot, because for the next 20-25 minutes, you are going to gently be stirring this. Now, some of the recipes want you to maintain that 88, 89 degree temperature. Now, I brought my pot inside the house now, and I've got it on top of the stove. You can turn the burner on if you want to, and put your little thermometer there in the pot and check it to see how close you are to that temperature. And if it's gone down to say like 70 or 60, just turn on the the stove and get it back up to 88, 89. Okay, so as I mix, and I sit down for a little bit, and then I come back and mix, and then I sit down, trying to stand at this pot for 20 minutes, okay, it's not going to happen. You just be practical. But you can see how the curds now are firming up. And what I want you to do in between is get a colander and your cheesecloth, because we are going to dump all of this beautiful feta into a colander with a cheesecloth and let it drip. Now, I save my whey. Don't let it go to waste. So make sure that colander is actually over another pot so we can catch all that beautiful whey. This is the next exciting part. I really like this because you're going to take your colander, and what I do is I put my cheesecloth over it, and I've got another bowl right underneath there, and I stick it right into my sink. And then I'm going to dump the curds right on in here. So look at that. That's beautiful. I'm going to pour the rest in there. So hold on, people. Hold on. I'm going to just sit you down right here. I'm going to finish that up. And don't be surprised at how much whey you have. You are going to have a lot of whey. But look at that. Oh! That is what I'm going to do. I took a wooden spoon, and I tied it around my cheesecloth. And, oh, I don't know if that's not going to fit. Oh, yeah, it will. Okay. And then I'm going to put it on the edge there and let it sit overnight. Now, it looks like there's enough clearance there, but you can do it with a wooden spoon. You can put it over your sink. Be creative. This is the creative part, but you're going to have to hang it somehow. And then we'll check back in the morning. Now, go to sleep. 24 hours later. Look what I have. I have a beautiful bag of feta, and I hope you have a beautiful bag of feta too. Now remember, some recipes do say 4, 5, 6 hours. Don't listen to them. You need to listen to Starry because I've made a lot of feta, and I always hang mine for 24 hours. That is really the key to good feta, because the longer you can let that feta sit, the better it's going to set up, and it's going to be flavorful, and it's going to be firm. Okay, so now I'm going to crack this baby open, and let's take a look to see what we got, because now we're ready for our next step. Oh, and I'm being joined. Look at this. I think the chickens are going to help me. Are you guys going to help me? What do you think? I tell you, wherever I go. Okay, this is the next step. As my doggies are playing, don't mind the background noise. This is a homestead, you know. This isn't some gourmet kitchen. This is just Starry Hilder's little old outdoor arena. Okay, but seriously, now what we're going to do is we're going to take the feta and we are going to cut it into chunks, and we are going to salt it with kosher salt. But the important thing is, your knife, I need it to be sterilized, and the containers you're going to be storing it in also need to be sterilized. This is really important because this feta is going to sit in these containers for a couple days, all right? So they need to be sterilized. Now, as always on Starry Hilder's Homestead, I do things no frill. So is there a right way or a wrong way to cut up your feta? I don't think there is. I say just cut it up. I kind of do it like a piece of bread. I just cut it up like that into slices. And I'm actually going to, you know what, I think I'm even going to cut it right down the middle so it can fit into my containers. And then you're going to take your kosher salt and you're going to salt each side. Okay, so I'm going to take this and look at how beautiful that is, though. Isn't that beautiful? Go away now. Mama's doing feta. And sprinkle that right on your feta. And please, people, do to every single piece. I don't care how you cut it, but every piece is going to have the salt on. And what's going to happen is this wonderful kosher salt is going to draw out the rest of that whey.
Hi, and we are back in Starry 4 days, and what I have been doing in that 4 days is really just checking on my resting feta. I've put a little bit of extra kosher salt on it, flipped it a couple times. Some of the whey did start coming out, so I drained it off and let it sit, and guess what I got? Oh, I hope you got what I got, because this is, like I said, people, this is a no-fail feta recipe. Look at that. This is firm. Look at that. Ooh, this is beyond beautiful. You cannot buy this stuff even in a gourmet cheese shop because you made this with your own hands. I love it. Moving on to the next step, and this is the cool part because now we have to figure out how we're going to store this. There are many ways to store feta, and you can be creative. There's one recipe where you can cut it up and actually put it in some olive oil and stick garlic in there and basil and all that good stuff. Now, I don't store my feta that way because I really like long-term storage in a brine. And I make my own brine. Now, I don't use the whey for my brine, and the reason being is I like my whey. I like to use it for other recipes, so I don't really want to waste it by storing my gorgeous feta. So I just use plain old water. And now, okay, we have mountain spring water. So if you get your water out of the tap, you better make sure it's not chlorinated, because it really needs to be unchlorinated water. And I just make a simple brine solution with my kosher salt. 4 cups of water to 1/3 cup of salt. And all you do is just, okay, this is so simple. I probably don't even need to show you guys, but you're going to take your salt, put it in your water, and then we're going to put the feta in there. And now this is going to store. Okay, now everybody has like, what's the expiration date of the food? Use your nose. The bottom line is this beautiful feta is going to store in your refrigerator for at least 30 days, okay? Oh, and one last real quick tip. If you like a salty feta, some people like a lot of salt, you can actually add a little extra salt to your brine. If you pull it out and say it's way too salty, remember the milk trick. You can actually take your feta and soak it in a little milk, and it'll draw out that extra salt. But in the meantime, it should really be just perfect, because this really is a perfect feta recipe.